In the heart of New York City, chaos erupts when notorious criminal Daniel Cross, responsible for the murder of 10 police officers, escapes from a heavily guarded courtroom. The trial was set to be the final chapter of his reign of terror, but with the help of a hidden accomplice, he vanishes, leaving the police and the city on high alert. As sirens wail through the streets, Detective Sarah Blake, known for her relentless pursuit of justice, takes charge of the manhunt. The media fuels public panic, broadcasting every twist and turn of the chase. Sarah's determination grows stronger as she recalls her fallen colleagues, victims of the man now loose on the streets. Daniel, cunning and unpredictable, evades every trap, using his deep knowledge of the city's shadows and underground networks. He taunts the police with cryptic messages, turning the pursuit into a dangerous game. Meanwhile, internal conflicts arise within the police force, with pressure mounting from the mayor to capture Cross before he strikes again. The chase leads to a tense confrontation in an abandoned subway tunnel. With only a flickering flashlight and her wits, Sarah corners Cross. In a heart-pounding standoff, Cross attempts to manipulate her, but Sarah stands firm. A sudden struggle ensues, and Sarah manages to subdue him, ending the city's nightmare. As Cross is taken back into custody, the city breathes a sigh of relief, but Sarah knows the scars of this battle will remain forever. The media hails her as a hero, yet she quietly mourns the colleagues she couldn't save. In the end, justice prevails, but at a heavy cost. A reminder that the line between heroism and sacrifice is often razor thin. The city of New York is in shock. News channels flash breaking updates. Dangerous criminal Daniel Cross escapes from court after killing 10 police officers. Panic spreads, and the media turns the incident into a nationwide spectacle. Amid the chaos, investigative journalist Mark Lewis sees a deeper story. While reporters chase headlines, Mark digs into the criminal's past. Who is Daniel Cross? What led him to such violence? As Mark interviews witnesses, victims' families, and police officials, a complex web of corruption and betrayal begins to surface. The victims' families express grief and anger, demanding justice. Protests erupt outside police headquarters, blaming the authorities for the security lapse. Meanwhile, politicians scramble to control the public outrage, making promises of swift justice. Mark's investigation leads him to a startling discovery. Cross may not have acted alone. A leak from within the police force is suspected, and Mark finds evidence suggesting that the escape was planned with help from someone inside the system. His search for the truth puts him in danger. Anonymous threats warn him to stop digging. As the city watches the police chase Cross, Mark publishes his exposé, revealing corruption within the department and a cover-up that may have cost officers their lives. The revelations shake the city, forcing the police commissioner to act. In a final confrontation, police capture Cross, but the headlines shift from his crimes to the corruption scandal. Mark's bravery exposes the rot within the system, ensuring justice beyond just Cross's arrest. The story closes with Mark watching the news. His report has sparked investigations, resignations, and reforms. Justice has been served, not just in the courtroom, but in the court of public opinion. Yet Mark knows that in the world of truth and lies, the fight never truly ends. The courtroom was supposed to be a fortress, but chaos erupted as Daniel Cross, a notorious criminal responsible for the murder of 10 police officers, escaped in broad daylight. Smoke filled the air, alarms blared, and within moments, he vanished. The city was in lockdown, and the police scrambled to respond. But something felt wrong. This escape was too perfect. Detective Ryan Cole was the first to suspect an inside job. Reviewing security footage, he noticed strange gaps, cameras disabled at key moments, doors unlocked without force. His gut told him someone within the system had helped Cross escape. Ryan's investigation was met with resistance. His superiors urged him to focus on the manhunt, but he couldn't ignore the signs of betrayal. His suspicions deepened when he discovered that one of his colleagues, Officer Mike Reynolds, had financial troubles and connections to a known criminal syndicate. Could Reynolds be the leak? Meanwhile, Cross remained one step ahead of every police operation, as if he knew their moves before they made them. Ryan, refusing to be misled, decided to set a trap. Leaking false information about Cross's next hideout, he waited to see who would act on it. The plan worked. Reynolds, desperate and cornered, led Cross straight into the ambush. A tense shootout ensued, but Ryan managed to capture Cross alive. Reynolds, wounded and arrested, confessed to aiding Cross in exchange for money and protection. The scandal rocked the police department. Trust was shattered, and the commissioner promised a full investigation. But for Ryan, it wasn't about headlines or promotions. It was about justice for his fallen colleagues. As Cross returned to custody, Ryan stood firm, knowing that sometimes the greatest battles aren't fought in the streets, but within the walls meant to protect justice. The sound of the gavel echoed in the courtroom, but Daniel Cross barely heard it. His eyes scanned every exit, every guard, every opportunity. They called him a monster, a cop killer, but no one cared about the man he was before. The system that created him was now trying to bury him. But not today. Today he would be free. The plan was flawless. A guard, a desperate man Daniel had bought months ago, made sure the cuffs were loose. When the smoke grenade detonated, chaos consumed the room. In a heartbeat, Daniel slipped through the confusion, disappearing into the cold veins of the city. The headlines screamed his name, and the entire police force was on high alert. But Daniel knew these streets better than anyone. Alleyways, tunnels, safe houses. He moved through the city's shadows, unseen and unstoppable. The only thing more dangerous than the police was time. He knew they would never stop hunting him. But his escape wasn't just about freedom. It was about revenge. Those 10 officers weren't random victims. They were part of a corrupt task force that destroyed his life, framing him for crimes he didn't commit. They took everything from him, his family, his future. So he took everything from them. Now, he had one target left, the man who ordered it all, Police Commissioner David Kane. Yet, the chase tightened. Detective Sarah Blake, relentless and sharp, tracked his every move. She was different from the others, honest, unbreakable. And for a moment, Daniel wondered, was there another way? But hesitation was fatal. In the final showdown, trapped and wounded, he faced Sarah. "You don't know the whole story," he gasped. "I know enough," she replied, cuffs clicking shut. The world would see a killer, but Daniel knew he was the consequence of their sins. New York City descends into chaos as news breaks. Daniel Cross, the man who killed 10 police officers, has escaped from court. Panic spreads like wildfire. Schools go on lockdown, businesses close early, and the streets empty, leaving behind a city gripped by fear. The police department, under immense pressure, launches the largest manhunt in city history. Helicopters circle the sky, checkpoints are set up, and armed officers patrol every corner. Commissioner David Kane addresses the public, urging calm but warning that Cross is extremely dangerous. The tension is palpable, every citizen a potential target, every shadow a threat. The media fuels the hysteria, broadcasting non-stop updates and theories. Social media explodes with rumors and sightings, real or fake. Fear turns to frustration, and protests break out, demanding answers. Many accuse the police of incompetence, while others suspect a deeper conspiracy behind Cross's escape. Amid the turmoil, Detective Sarah Blake tirelessly leads the search, racing against time. But the stress fractures the police force. Some officers grow reckless, others fearful. Mistrust brews as suspicions of an inside job spread. As panic intensifies, vigilantes emerge, citizens armed and ready to take justice into their own hands. In one tragic incident, a man mistaken for Cross is shot, deepening the city's unrest. But the breakthrough comes unexpectedly. A local shop owner, terrified but determined, reports seeing Cross entering an abandoned warehouse. Sarah and her team move swiftly, surrounding the building. The final confrontation is swift and brutal. Shots ring out, but Sarah corners Cross and takes him down alive. As the sirens fade, the city exhales, but scars remain. The headlines shift from fear to heroism, But Sarah knows the truth. The city wasn't just on edge, it was broken, and some wounds don't heal overnight. With Daniel Cross finally back in custody, the city of New York begins to breathe again, but the wounds of his escape run deep. The media shifts its attention from panic to blame, demanding answers from the police department. How could such a high-profile criminal escape so easily? Protests continue, fueled by anger over the chaos and lives lost during the manhunt. An internal investigation exposes cracks in the justice system, corruption, negligence, and betrayal within the police force. Officer Mike Reynolds, revealed as Cross's accomplice, faces trial, and his confession sparks outrage. The police commissioner, under fire, resigns in disgrace. But for many, the damage to public trust is beyond repair. Detective Sarah Blake, hailed as a hero, finds herself struggling with the weight of her actions. She saved the city, but at what cost? Innocent lives were lost during the panic, and her department is fractured.